They were called the mad couple, yet no one truly knew how their paths first crossed. Some whispered they found each other near the old Anglican cemetery where both would sit, lost in their own mutterings. Others believed it began at the town's roundabout, where they often danced barefoot to the wind's rhythm. Whatever the truth, no one could deny the strange bond that tied them together. The man, Emeka, had once been a promising student, sharp with numbers and business like his father. The woman, Adanma, had been a gentle teacher at the community primary school. But one day, without warning, madness swept over them like dry leaves carried by the wind. First it struck Emeka, then soon after, Adanma. No illness, no quarrel, no accident explained it. One morning, Emeka stormed into the market, shouting, "Snakes! Snakes are in my ears!" 3 days later, Adanma was found inside the church well, clapping and humming hymns. From that moment, they clung to each other like shadows. Emeka carried her bag of wrappers and bottles, while Adanma wiped the sweat from his face with a torn napkin whenever his ramblings grew intense. If he sat beneath the mango tree in the marketplace, she soon appeared beside him. They walked hand in hand, laughed together, and quarreled like any ordinary couple. "Give me my wrapper," Adanma would shout. "You don't respect me," Emeka would fire back. Minutes later, they would hold hands again, singing songs no one else knew, laughing at jokes only they understood. At first, the townspeople mocked them, but gradually, a strange fondness grew. They began to leave food and water nearby, and even chased away strangers who dared to insult them. "They may be crazy, but they belong to each other," Mom Nkechi, the food stall owner, would say. No one ever tried to separate them, for it would be like tearing the moon from the night. Years passed, until one morning, something happened that left the town shaken. Adanma's belly began to swell. Her laughter softened, her steps slowed. Whispers spread like wildfire. Who had gotten the mad woman pregnant? Some suspected a stranger, others whispered of wickedness. But when her time came, the truth revealed itself. It was an orange evening, the sky heavy with fading light. Adanma sat by the stream, humming, when suddenly her scream pierced the air. This was not her usual cry, but something deeper, urgent. Women rushed from their stalls, men abandoned their shops, children peered from behind trees. Emeka was already by her side, holding her hand. "Push," he whispered. "Push, my queen. Bring our child." She screamed, bit her lips, clung to his arm with all her strength. With one final cry, the baby arrived, alive and wailing. A woman stepped forward, washing the child with stream water and wrapping her in her scarf. Silence fell over the crowd as the baby opened her eyes. Gasps broke the stillness. "She has Emeka's eyes," someone whispered. "The dimples too," another said. There was no doubt, the child was his. The madman was the father. The mad woman was the mother. Together they had brought life into the world. They named her Amma, a name that floated gently like the breeze. Emeka held her as though she were gold, while Adanma sang to her with a voice untainted by madness. The people stood still, for this was no longer madness, it was a miracle. Yet miracles often bring questions. Soon, voices rose across Umudike. Could two unstable parents raise a child? Would she not grow up in filth, starving under bridges? The elders gathered beneath the great tree at the palace to decide. Some argued the child should be taken. Others disagreed. The debate dragged on until Emeka himself appeared, bare-chested, dust on his face, a long stick in hand. Behind him, Adanma clutched Amma close against her chest. He did not bow or greet. He raised his voice, trembling but firm. "Touch her and see what happens. I may be mad, but I am her father." Adanma pressed the baby tighter and whispered, "Ours." The wind rustled the leaves. Silence weighed heavy. Then Mama Nkechi stepped forward with a bowl of yam porridge. She placed it near them. "For the baby," she said softly. One by one, others followed. Wrappers, milk, blankets, water. No one spoke, but their actions said everything. The oldest elder finally nodded. "Let them be. But we will watch from afar." And so it was decided. The town did not take Amma away, nor did they abandon her. From then on, wherever Emeka and Adanma went, unseen hands supported them. When the baby cried, food appeared. When rain fell, someone came with shelter. When nights grew cold, Warm clothes were quietly laid beside their mat. Amma grew strong. Her eyes were bright. Her smile lit paths like the full moon. The people often said, "She is not like them. She is a seed growing in cracked soil." And in many ways, Yumyadike became her second mother. They did not hold her, yet they carried her in their hearts. Unlike her parents, Amma was sharp, curious, and stubborn. Every morning, she left them under the mango tree and walked to the school fence. Not inside but outside. She stood by the window, hands clasped behind her back, eyes fixed, ears open. Inside, the children wrote with pencils and sang their alphabets. Outside, Amma stood still, watching, listening. Rain or sun, she never missed a day. One morning, a teacher noticed her. It was Teacher Beezy, kind-eyed and gentle. She paused mid-lesson, her gaze drawn to the small figure at the window. "That girl is always standing there," she murmured. "Who is she?" A pupil raised his hand and answered, "She's Amma, the mad couple's daughter." The teacher watched her closely. Even from outside, she could see Amma's lips moving, softly echoing the words of the lesson. That afternoon, Teacher Beezy went to the headmaster. "Sir, there's a girl who stands outside our window every day. She listens. She wants to learn." The old man frowned. "You mean the child of the madman and madwoman?" "Yes, sir. But she's different. She wears rags," he said sharply. "She has no shoes. She has a mind," the teacher replied firmly. The next morning, Amma was at the window again, just as she always was. But this time, Teacher Beezy stepped outside. She took her hand gently. "Come in, Amma. Come and sit." Amma's lips trembled. "Me? Yes, you. You want to learn, don't you?" Slowly, she nodded and followed. The children stared. Some laughed. One boy whispered, "She smells like the gutter." Amma ignored them. She sat at the front, barefoot, her sleeves torn, but her eyes alive with fire. She held the chalk like it had always belonged to her. "What is 2 plus 2? The teacher asked. Amma raised her hand. 4. Correct. What is the first letter in banana? B. The teacher's smile widened. From that day, she came early, always sitting in the front. Even when hunger twisted her stomach, even when other children mocked her, she never stopped. The headmaster, from his office window, began to notice. One afternoon, he stood at the back of her class, watching. Her hand shot up again and again, answering each question with ease. She even helped the boy beside her. Later he said to Teacher Beezy, "This one is different." "She is a star covered in dust, sir," the teacher replied. From then on, Amma became a true pupil. No more standing outside. She had no books, but her mind was full. She had no shoes, but her steps carried her far. Her hunger for knowledge burned like fire. She read everything, asked questions, and learned quickly, like dry soil soaking in rain. The teachers loved her. The headmaster gave her old books. Mom and Ketchy shared ground nuts and oranges. One day, the town gathered and presented her with a new uniform. "Let our star shine well," they said. Then one morning, during assembly, her name was called. The headmaster cleared his throat. Amma has been awarded a scholarship to attend secondary school in the city. Gasps rose. Then applause thundered. Amma stood still, eyes wide. She had never left Yumyadike, never seen tall buildings or entered a big bus. Yet her journey had begun. That evening, she ran to her parents under the mango tree, clutching the paper. "Papa, Mama, I got it." Emeka looked at the letter, then at her, his smile breaking wide. He lifted his hands. My daughter is going to the city." Adanma placed the paper on her lap, touched Amma's cheek, and began to sing, her cracked voice carrying sweetness. "She is our child, our light, our joy." The next week, the whole town followed her to the roadside. She wore a dress given by the churchwomen, her bag small but her hope great. When the bus arrived, voices called, "Make us proud, Amma. Don't forget us. Study well." She waved with both hands. Inside, she pressed her face against the window until the trees swallowed her parents from view. The city was overwhelming. Roads wide, buildings towering, noise everywhere. Amma lived in the school dormitory, studied hard, read late into the night, and never forgot home. When she finished secondary school, she passed brilliantly. Another scholarship came, this time to study law at university. When the letter arrived, she cried, then laughed, then cried again. Returning home that weekend, the town erupted in celebration. Drums boomed, pots bubbled, children danced with sticks in their hands. Even Emeka spun in circles beneath the mango tree, shouting, "My daughter will wear a lawyer's wig." Adanma lifted her hands and sang, this time the whole town joining her. Amma hugged them tightly. "I'll come back often. I'll never forget," she promised. But deep in the crowd's whispers lay questions. Would she truly remember them? And if she did, would she help? One scorching afternoon in her final year of law school, Amma walked home from her part-time job at a law chamber. The sun pressed heavy, dust clung to her shoes. As she neared the pedestrian bridge, a man in white called out, "Sister." She turned. A pastor stood there, Bible under one arm, eyes sharp. "You carry a burden," he said. Her steps faltered. "What do you mean?" "You ask questions about your parents, why they lost their minds. The answer lies with your father's kin, and in a will that still exists. A will with your grandfather's lawyer." Amma's heart raced. "What are you talking about?" But the man had already crossed the road, disappearing into the crowd like mist. No goodbye, no name. She stood frozen as cars rushed past, hawkers shouted, people brushed by. Her hands turned cold, her mind spun like a wheel without brakes. That night, sleep did not come. She tossed on her bed, staring at the ceiling fan moving slowly, hearing his words again. "You carry a burden. There's a will," she whispered to herself. Her heart throbbed with questions. What really happened to her parents? Why had no one spoken of it? Why had madness claimed them both? By morning, she knew what she must do. She was going to uncover the truth. That weekend, Amma packed her small bag and boarded a bus to the neighboring village. The road was rough, the wind hit her face like a warning, and she clutched her bag tightly as her heartbeat raced. Her aunt, Clara, lived in a mud house lined with flowers at the front. When she saw Amma, her face lit up. She stretched out her arms. "My lawyer baby," she said warmly, holding her close. Amma smiled, though something heavy sat inside her chest. Later, they sat on wooden stools outside, peeling cassava. Their knives scraped softly, the pieces dropping into the bowl with a steady rhythm. For a long while, silence hung between them. Then Amma asked quietly, "Auntie?" "Yes, my child. Why did my parents lose their minds?" The knife in Clara's hand froze. She sighed deeply, like pulling a secret from a buried well. "They were fine. Until after your grandfather's funeral." Amma's hands stopped moving. "Your father came back from the burial shouting," Clara continued, her voice trembling. "He screamed that snakes were in his ears. He fought everyone who tried to hold him." Amma's throat tightened. "And Mama?" 3 days later, Clara whispered. Someone found Adanma sitting inside the church well, singing hymns to herself. Amma's stomach sank. But why? What caused it? Her aunt looked away, scraping the last cassava without answering. Amma reached out and touched her knee gently. "Please, Auntie. I need to know." Clara's eyes glistened but she didn't look at her. After a long silence, her voice dropped low. "Go to your uncle, John Bull. He knows more than anyone." Amma blinked. Uncle John Bull, her father's elder brother, stern, cold, the one who never visited her parents, the one who quietly claimed the cocoa farms, the 6 shops, and the family house after their fall. She arranged a meeting with him. He poured himself palm wine and sneered. "You came all the way from the city to ask foolish questions? Your parents went mad." "Tragic, but that's all." Amma stayed calm. She laid a folded document on the table. "But I found the old will. It says, any son married or engaged at the time of my death shall inherit the greater share. My father was engaged to my mother. You had no one." John Bull's jaw tightened, though his eyes flickered. "Yet suddenly, my father went mad after the funeral. And Mama too, both within days. You think I bewitched them?" He forced a laugh, but it rang hollow. "I found more," Amma said evenly. "You visited a certain native doctor 3 times that same week." His face twitched. He stood slowly, voice sharp. "You're playing with fire, little girl." Amma rose too, her face steady. No. I'm playing with truth. For a moment, they stood locked in silence. The sun lit only half of her face, but her eyes burned with full fire. The lies were cracking, and his secrets were trembling at the edge of collapse. Long before the madness, before the will, before bitterness hardened him, John Bull had once tried to love. The first was Chica, sharp, smart, confident. He followed her from market to home, bought her groundnuts, dreamed of marrying her. When he asked, she smiled lightly. Let's see how it goes. But then he began to control her, ordering her not to talk to men, not to wear trousers, not to stay out past 6. Chica laughed. You're not my husband, not even my father. She walked away, leaving him burning with shame. Then came Ko, who sold books by the roadside. She loved music and poems, gentle but firm. Things seemed fine until one quarrel flared. He shouted, she shouted back. His temper exploded, he slapped her. That night, her 3 brothers arrived, tall and silent. They beat him until he couldn't walk straight for days. Next was Ifuna, a calm widow. She was kind, thoughtful, even prayed with him once. For a while, peace lingered. Yet still he found fault. She is too strong, he muttered. She doesn't cry, doesn't beg, doesn't need me. One night, he left her without explanation. After that, he gave up on women. None of them are good, he told himself. They're too bold, too free, too loud. He buried himself in anger and silence. Then the will came. His father's words cut like a knife. The son who was married or engaged would receive the greater portion. John Bull had nothing. But Aimcha did. He was engaged to Adanma, the sweet teacher whose laughter lit every room. John Bull boiled with envy. He saw the shops, the cocoa farms, the family house, all slipping beyond his reach. He blamed love. He blamed women. He blamed his brother. So one hot evening, he walked down the narrow red path at the village's edge. A smoky hut awaited, its walls dark, its air thick with secrets. He stepped inside. The herbalist sat cross-legged, his pale eyes fixed on John Bull, his voice carrying like the wind through dry leaves. I want something gone, John Bull said. The old man studied him. What is it you wish to erase? My brother, John Bull replied without hesitation. And his woman. The herbalist lifted his hand. You mean to kill? John Bull shook his head. No. Just twist their minds. Let them lose their grip. A slow smile crept across the man's face. No blood, only madness. He reached into a clay pot, drew out a pinch of black powder, and folded it into a leaf. Burn this by their window. Call their names. Do not look back. John Bull paid in full and followed the instructions. 3 nights after the funeral, while Emeka and Adanma mourned in silence, he crept to their home. He lit the powder, whispered their names, and walked away. By morning, Emeka was screaming about snakes in his ears. 2 days later, Adanma was found in the church well, singing hymns to herself. Confusion spread, the village stayed silent, and John Bull seized everything. The keys, the shops, the cocoa farms. No one challenged him. The years rolled on, the madness never lifted, and the land remained in his hands. But now the secret was breaking open. Amma went alone to the herbalist's hut. The man was frail and gray, his hands trembling, his voice faint. She stood before him, firm and unshaken. I know what you did, she said. He raised his eyes. I am Emeka's daughter. I came to undo what you began. The old man sighed, leaning back as if the weight of his years pressed down on him. Yes, he whispered. I remember your father. Your mother, too. They were not my enemies. But your uncle paid well. Tears welled in Amma's eyes. Her voice trembled but did not break. You shattered 2 lives. You tore apart a family. The herbalist nodded slowly. And now you want to mend what is broken? Yes, she answered. Even if the land is lost, I want their minds restored. Without asking for payment, he disappeared into the back room. When he returned, he carried dry leaves, a small vial, and 2 smooth white stones. Boil this, he said. Let them drink before the sun falls. Burn the stones at their feet. Call their names 3 times. If their spirits are still near, they will return. Amma held the items as though carrying a fragile bird. "Will it work?" she whispered. "If their souls still walk close," he said softly, "then yes." She wiped her face, steadied her breath, and thanked him. Then she turned and left, her steps quiet but her heart marching forward. She clutched the bag tight to her chest, never stopping to rest until she reached home. The sun was low when she arrived. Under the mango tree, her parents sat as always, her father tracing lines in the sand with a stick, her mother rocking a plastic cup like a child. Amma knelt beside them. "Papa," she whispered. Emeka looked up with a distant smile. "My queen has come." Her hands trembled. She went inside, boiled the leaves, and carried the cups outside. The bitter smell filled the air. She knelt again. "Mama, Papa, drink this. Please." Adanma sipped first, then Emeka followed. They coughed, wiped their lips. Amma placed the stones by their feet and lit them. They glowed faintly, like embers waking from sleep. She whispered their names, again and again, soft and steady. Nothing changed that night. Or the next. Days passed. Weeks. The village watched her in silence, some shaking their heads. But Amma did not give up. Then in the third week, as evening settled and the birds began their slow songs, Adanma sat up. She blinked. She touched her chest, her face, the ground. "Where am I?" she whispered. Amma dropped the bowl in her hand, rushed forward, and fell to her knees. "Mama!" Her mother's eyes were tired but clear. For the first time in years, clear. Beside her, Emeka stirred. He looked at his wife, then at his daughter. His lips trembled. "Adanma." She turned, meeting his gaze. "Eka." Their hands found each other, shaking, holding tight. Their eyes filled but no words came. Only tears. Gentle, quiet tears that had waited years to fall. Amma wept with them. The chickens hushed, the wind stilled. Even the mango tree seemed to hold its breath. The spell was broken. The madness had left. 3 days later, Amma told them everything. The will, the betrayal, the visit to the herbalist, the land now gone. Emeka sat under the mango tree, silent, eyes on the sky. Adanma gripped Amma's hand, her face hardening at John Bull's name. Amma stood and said, "Come, let me show you what remains." They packed a small bag and walked with her at sunset. First the row of shops, doors hanging loose, shelves thick with dust, cobwebs heavy in the corners. "These were yours," Amma said. "No one rents them now. They say the place carries a curse." Next, the cocoa farm, trees brittle, leaves curled and dry. Some already fallen, others standing like shadows of what they once were. Emeka touched one trunk, his fingers trembling. Finally, the family house. The roof sagged with holes, walls cracked like old skin, one window missing, the door groaning with every push. Amma stood in the doorway. "It's gone, Papa." But he did not cry. He walked to the center of the compound, closed his eyes and drew a long breath. Then he turned to her. "Let him keep the dust," he said. Amma stared. Her father placed a hand on her shoulder. "We have you. We have our minds again." Adanma wrapped her arms around them both. Her voice was quiet but strong. "We may have lost everything else, but not each other." That night, they packed again. Without looking back, they followed Amma to the city. The land lay behind them, but their life was beginning anew. Years passed. In Umudik, elders still spoke of the mad couple who found their way back. They lost their minds, but not their love, one would say. And in the end, their daughter gave them back their honor. John Bull remained in the ruined family house, alone, bitter, and forgotten. Amma thrived. Her law firm grew. Her parents found joy teaching city children to read and write. And whenever someone asked where her strength came from, she smiled. "I was raised by two souls who walked through the darkest night," she said, "and still found each other."